One of the saddest days of my life was the day that a knock came on our door, and I opened the door, and there were three people from our local church standing there, and they had baskets of food that they were going to be giving me and my wife and for my two children. I remember that day like it was yesterday. And I remember feeling and looking at these people with a smile on their face, and I know I didn't have a smile. I know I looked pretty sad, maybe even shocked, but they were there because they had heard that we were having a very, very difficult time financially. And this was way back when I think I was probably in my late 20s. I had worked at a company, worked for a business. I ended up quitting the job, but just one day I just couldn't handle it anymore. I just quit it. I knew I was working on something else, and I just couldn't stand it anymore. That something else I was working on was a business that ended up turning into a pretty large publishing business. But at that point, we weren't making any money, and we were struggling. And some friend or neighbor, I don't know who it was, but anyway, somebody called, and the church came over and gave us food, and I was really, really upset that happened. But I understood it. But I think what upset me more was looking at my wife's face and looking at my kids' faces and thinking, you know what, I'm not providing for these guys. I'm just not able to do it. And I got to tell you, I had a big pit in my stomach on that day when it happened. And things after that went on, and I ended up building a business, a successful business, had over 100 employees and multi-million dollars worth of sales, and launched a chain of business-to-business magazines. But people have said, well, Lou, how in the world, how did you stay motivated when all this happened, when you had nothing? And the truth was, I had nothing. Didn't even have a decent car to drive. They said, well, how did you stay motivated? That answer is kind of easy and kind of complicated, I suppose, but I can give it to you just in 3 steps. I could always visualize and see where we could be. I knew that, yeah, maybe I had to take a step backwards to make that, what I always say, take a step backwards to do that giant leap forward. But, I could visualize where I was going to be. And I believe that if you're out there and you've lost everything, or you have nothing, maybe you lost your job, you're over 50 years old, and you're thinking, what am I going to do? Where am I going to get another job at? Visualize where you could be, because that helped me tremendously. I knew that one day I would have a nice house. I knew I would have a nice car. I knew I would have a business that would grow, even though at that point we weren't making any money and we were struggling and nothing was going right. It didn't seem like it. Couldn't see the things that were really going right, because I was so drowning in all the things that were going wrong. But visualize where you can be. I would say that's the number one thing to do, is visualize where you want to be and have big visions. Have that big thought in your head that what you can do and where you want to go. So visualizing is so important. But number two is, I did have a plan. I had a good plan. I believed in my plan. I sat down, I developed a strategy, and I said, yes, this is what I'm going to do and how I'm going to get there. And I knew it was going to be a tough road. I knew it wasn't going to be easy. And it wasn't easy, but I followed my plan. And along the way, I'll say this, in every single plan, every single strategy that you come up with is going to change, is going to evolve. Things are going to happen to you don't anticipate. And you've got to be able to just make that move, a quick move, and do a sidestep and do whatever you got to do to keep it going and keep it rolling along. But the plan, the strategy is so important. But then here's the third thing, and I think this is maybe one of the most important things you can do, is to be able to communicate your plan and your strategy and let other people know this. Now, yeah, I did tell my wife, hey, we're going to get there. We're going to be where we need to be. And I understand it's tough. And I was working 2 jobs to make money, and it still wasn't enough. You've got a wife and I've got 2 kids, and it wasn't enough. But I had to communicate, and I just communicated all the time. This is what's going on. This is what we're doing. This is what I see. And it was rough. It was hard. But that communicating with the people around you. But also, you got to be able to communicate with the people that you're working with, the people that are going to be able to help you, whether it's an employee that you have and you're saying, hey, I know it doesn't look like we're going to grow that big, but I'm telling you, one day we're going to have 20 offices throughout the country. One day we're going to have over 100 employees. One day you're going to be making some pretty darn good money. You had to communicate, and you had to be sincere and honest, and tell them the truth. This is what's going on. But their communication skills are so important. But here's the third part of the communication. Not just your family, not just the people that are working with you, not even just your suppliers, but you got to be able to sell your product. You got to be able to communicate. Your communication skills are so important.
If you improve your communication skills, I will guarantee you that you'll earn 50% more money over your lifetime. And I said it's kind of beneath the business school to teach about speaking better, writing better, yeah. But that is what counts.
If you don't develop, grow, and really nurture communication skills, and I'm talking about every single day, you got to do it. But if you don't do that, you're not going to be successful. So to summarize this video up and to really just tell you, number one, visualize where you want to be and really believe it. Number two, come up with a plan, a strategy, and stick with it. Be willing to pivot, be able to make adjustments on a dime. You have a small business, you can certainly do that. Get some help, get some advice if that's what you need to do. So those are two things. But the third thing, as I mentioned, is that communication skill.
If you can't communicate, somebody says, it's like winking at a girl in the dark. Nothing happens, basically. And you have to be able to get forth your ideas.
If you want to get a better job, if you want to be worth 50% more than you are now, master your communication skills and you'll have what you want. Well, that's all I got for you today, folks. And yeah, I am sitting in my car, decided to do that today, get out of the office. And you know what? I can do that. I can do that because I built a business that allows me to do that. You can do it too. Well, that's all I got for you. If you would, please go ahead, subscribe to our channel. But if you do that, if you hit that subscribe button, please hit that little bell. If you don't hit that little bell, there's no reason to hit the subscribe button because you won't be notified every single time I upload a new video. As I always say, have a great day, everybody.